there really should be a term for the withdrawals that one goes through after attending Pinburg at Replay FX in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania every year. Because I go, I have the time of my life, and I come back, and I have to assimilate back into life, and it's just not as good. This is not as good as Pinburg. You know what I'm saying? We're going to talk about Pinburg. We're going to talk about all sorts of stuff here, because it's been a while, folks. It's been too long. So we'll catch up, shall we? You, me, this microphone, your speakers, your earbuds, whatever, on episode 244 of Coast to Coast Pinball. Let's go. Welcome to Coast to Coast Pinball. My name is Nate Shivers. This is a podcast. It is a commentary, and I'm a man out of quarters. I was worried I couldn't remember how to do that. But we got there. How you doing, everybody? Coming to you not live from Amsterdam in North Holland in the Netherlands. It is Wednesday, August 1st, 2018. It's the day after my birthday. This is day one of year number 40. That means I turned 39 yesterday. I begin year 40. It's kind of weird because when you're 39 years old, you're actually now living your 40th year. Because like when you're 0, you're living your first year, and you end it at 1, so that's your first birthday. I had my 39th birthday. That means the next day is the beginning of my 40th year. On this big rock floating through space. Very quickly, I might add. How's everybody doing? I'm all fired up because I'm drinking energy drinks too late at night. But that's okay. I have to get through this, to have the energy to come into the Coast to Coast Pinball Studios and put on the headset microphone and spin around in the spinny chair. Yeah, that's what we're doing. How you guys doing? So, we need to catch up. It's been a while. I don't really have I can't find my notebook. Like, I have a notebook with a bunch of Coast to Coast Pinball stickers all over it, and I make show notes in it. And I think I have 2 of them now. The first one had the first couple hundred episodes, or 180 episodes. Second one had some episodes. I don't know where the notebook is. Life's been a little strange. Just to give you the preface to some things, life's been a little strange. But here we are. So, hi. I've been back for 3 days from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Flew back Sunday night. You fly Sunday, you lose the whole day. I flew from Pittsburgh to Dallas. I know that makes no sense. And then Dallas overnight, back to Amsterdam. Got off the plane at 8:15 in the morning and went right to the office. Because that's what you got to do sometimes. You right to the office. Because maybe a vice president of your company's coming in from the USA that week and didn't show up till Tuesday, so you probably could have stayed home on Monday. But I went right to the office, and I worked all Monday. And been, trying to fight the jet lag and get some sleep this week. So here we are. But I had to do this show because there's so much on my mind. And we've got other big things coming up that we're going to talk about in future episodes. So I had to get this show going. So what have I been doing? Here's what I've been doing. So I've been playing pinball locally in Amsterdam. I've been going to the Tauntaun Club. I've been playing a lot of Walking Dead because I think it's one of the greatest games ever made. It's fantastic. And I play the Addams Family, which is also one of the greatest games ever made. And sometimes I play the Iron Man. And sometimes I play the Whodunit. But, there's some games there, and I play. So I've been playing. When I'm on the road, I don't play as much as I used to because I'm traveling with my sales reps, the guys that I manage out in the field. There's 7 of them in Europe. I travel with them. Don't usually get to go find pinball here and there. But I did go to the United States of America in July. I took the week of July 4th off and visited family and saw some friends. I ended up in Las Vegas. And you know what happens when you go to Las Vegas? You go to the Pinball Hall of Fame, and it's amazing. I went to the Pinball Hall of Fame, and I spent lots of hours there, and lots of quarters, and played lots of games. It was the first time I had played Iron Maiden. We'll talk about that more in a little bit. But I had a great time at the Hall of Fame. It was 109 degrees in Las Vegas when I was there. So the Pinball Hall of Fame at 2 in the afternoon is a great place to be. It's kind of dark. It's cool. It's got pinball, lots of it. And then news broke today, or at least yesterday or today, I don't know, that the Pinball Hall of Fame is moving locations. They actually bought a piece of land on the Las Vegas Strip, right by the very famous Welcome to Wonderful Las Vegas, Wonderful Welcome, the Las Vegas sign, right down past the Mandalay Bay and by the big Harley Davidson dealership on the Sunset Strip. They bought a place, and they're going to build a new Pinball Hall of Fame. And the post, if you don't follow Pinball Hall of Fame on Facebook, go check it out. Read the post. It's a big undertaking. They're gonna cease their charitable donations for a little while they dig out of the debt that they're incurring to buy the land, build the thing. They got to sell their old building. They're looking for help, looking for donations. I'm gonna donate. I hope you do too, because the Pinball Hall of Fame is one of the original hot spots. When I got into pinball years ago, it was that was the mecca. You went to the Pinball Hall of Fame to see all the games. And then there was Papa, and then there are other places built up. And yeah, now it's better and there's more games everywhere. But the Pinball Hall of Fame is awesome. Being on the Strip is going to be cool. And their reasoning was literally it's going to be better for tourists who come to the Pinball Hall of Fame for us to be there. They're going to have more space, have more games. I think it's only a good thing. So I encourage you, if you have any expendable currency floating around, to get on their Facebook page, read their post, and look into maybe throwing them a few dollars. Don't buy a Coast to Coast Pinball t-shirt this year. Buy a donation at the Pinball Hall of Fame. They've got some cool things where you become a member and you can get some perks and there's a party. Just do it. So I went to the Pinball Hall of Fame, had a great time, played Iron Maiden, thought it was amazing. And I'll tell you, as I was driving back from Las Vegas to San Diego, because I had to work the following 2 weeks in San Diego at the mothership of Taylor Guitars, I was driving in my car, 113 degrees at one point. I think I actually saw 119 on the temperature. Really hot. And I was thinking about what I had played with Iron Maiden. And I knew the game. I'd been looking at videos and looking at the game. I did the interview with Keith. It was finally I got to play it. And I was driving and I was thinking, that was really amazing. Not just the game, not just the shots on the play field, and not just the sound and the music. Iron Maiden music is awesome. Not just the video screen, not the call-outs. I don't know. The whole thing just felt really, really good. And I had this little thought in the back of my head, is this the greatest pinball machine of all time? And then you kind of you think, that's subjective. Don't think like that. Back to San Diego I go. So, went back to San Diego. I ate some great food because I love the Netherlands, but there's a few things they don't have. One of them's Mexican food, another one of them's real American style barbecue. So I ate a lot of food and didn't work out enough. So whatever, but it was great. Food was good. But while I was in San Diego, me and my friend Zach, who appeared on this very podcast, I think in episode 79, 76, way back when. Zach and I, who currently still has a couple of my games in his garage, Zach and I went to a place called Brewski's in San Diego, which is a bar that when I lived in San Diego did not have pinball. I think they might have one game back then, and I never had been there. Now they have a bunch of games. They have, Batman 66. They have Medieval Madness remake, Attack from Mars remake. They have all these games, but really a great lineup. What I'm getting to, though, is they had an Iron Maiden. And Zach and I played Iron Maiden a bunch. First time he'd played it, second time I'd played it. And he was just like, dude, this game's awesome. I just like watching you play, watching the screen, hearing the call-outs. It's funny. It's intense. There's cool modes you can play. There's multi-balls that are available to you. There's risk-reward shots. There's shots through pop bumpers up ramps. I mean, it's really pretty awesome. And so he and I were playing it, and then we moved down and played another game. And I said, what do you want to do? He goes, let's play Iron Maiden again. I'm like, yeah, let's play Iron Maiden again. Good call. So we went back and we skipped Star Wars. We skipped Ghostbusters. We skipped, I think we did play some Attack from Mars. We skipped Medieval Madness at that time. And we went back and we played more Iron Maiden. And we were playing a lot of Iron Maiden. And I said, you like this, don't you? And he said, yeah, this is one of the best games I've ever played. And in the back of my head, I had this thought, is Iron Maiden the greatest game of all time? And you don't think that because it's subjective and you just go, nah, I don't think like that. Come on. It's just new and shiny. So you put it to the side. So interestingly enough, that night, as we were hanging out at Brewski's on a school night, we both had to go to the office the next day. I think we had a sales meeting the next day. There was a gentleman down the row of games blowing up Batman 66, bajillions of points on Batman 66. And he left, so I thought he was gone, and he left a credit on the game. So you know me, I see free credit, and Zach's like, hey, it's a free credit. We're like, let's go put some more money in this and even that 1 credit out to 4, and let's play that credit. And so we started playing the game, and dude walks back over, and I'm like, oh, man, I'm about to get chewed out for using this guy's credit. Like, that's not how this was supposed to go. So I walk up to him and say, like, hey, man, like, I think you left a credit on here. If you'd like to jump in, you could play with us. And he said to my friend, are you Nate? And Zach's like, no, that's Nate. And I'm like, wait a minute, why does he know this? And he goes, oh, hey, Nate, I'm Michael Gottlieb. And I'm like, Michael Gottlieb? Michael Gottlieb. Yes, it's Michael Gottlieb from, Gottlieb family. Alvin Gottlieb, his father. So Michael Gottlieb was there, and he was blowing games up because he's really good at pinball. So we talked to Michael Gottlieb for half hour, 45 minutes, stayed out too late, had great conversations, got some cool backstories about some things that I didn't know, and chatted. And maybe someday Michael Gottlieb will come on Coast to Coast Pinball. I think that would be really cool. So anyway, we're driving back from Brewski's, and I say to Zach, hey, Zach, is it possible that Iron Maiden's the greatest pinball game of all time? And he goes, yeah, it is possible. And I'm like, huh. But you don't think that really because, it's subjective and it's just the new shiny game and you move on with your life and you go forward. So anyway, Brewski's is awesome in San Diego. So I think Mark is running those games too. Mark from Harbortown Pub and from Bar and Grill, blanking on it, Waterfront Bar and Grill in San Diego. Mark runs a bunch of games, does a great job, runs tournaments in town. San Diego's happening. It's cool. I'm jealous. So good times. I've got my tiny little notepad here that's not the right notepad, and I'm reading my notes on things I wanted to talk about. So anyway, I went to Adrian, Oregon, where my mom lives. My mom and my sister Nicole live in Adrian, Oregon. My sister Natalie lives on the far western side of Oregon, which is nowhere near Adrian's about an hour from Boise, Idaho, if you're wondering. So I met all my family in Adrian, my mom's place, and my mom retired, and it was like happy retirement and good times. And I made a little day trip to Ontario, Oregon, which I think I have mentioned on the show before, but there's a bowling alley in Ontario, Oregon called Sunset Lanes. And Sunset Lanes always has pinball. So I, made the little run to town to get some food to make dinner that night and stopped by Sunset Lanes, played some pinball, played some Walking Dead. Don't recall what the other game was at the moment. It might have been a Data East Simpsons, but that also might be from a long time ago. But anyway, so if you're in Ontario, Oregon, which you're probably not, but if you are, there's pinball. So that's good. At the end of the trip, I had my brother-in-law was flying back to Portland. He had to go back to work, and I took him to the airport. And his flight was way before mine because we didn't coordinate things very well. So I ended up at the airport way too early for my flight back to San Diego. And lo and behold, the Boise Airport used to have just a Ghostbusters game, which is awesome. I can kill time playing any pinball game, even if it's a game I'm not madly in love with like Ghostbusters. But they also had an Addams Family. So I played a bunch of Addams Family. Then I played some Ghostbusters. So I played a bunch of pinball at the Boise Airport. That's a good thing. So that kind of rounds out my first trip to the U.S. I came back. I was in the U.S. for almost 3 weeks, a week of vacation, 2 weeks of work, and I flew back. And I was back here in the Netherlands for 4 whole days before I had to fly back to Pittsburgh, via London, via New York to Pittsburgh. It's a long trip. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Replay FX, Pinburgh. It's like the greatest thing in the world, right? It's an amazing, amazing event. A lot of people put a lot of effort into Pinburgh. I'm like a broken record from a year ago. This is 4th year, I believe, at the David Lawrence Convention Center in downtown Pittsburgh. It's just fantastic. Pinburgh is a behemoth of a tournament. 840 people. The thing sold out in like a minute. It's just the best run thing ever for the size that it is. Fantastic. So here I'm going to give you, because we're not going to talk all about Pinburgh all the way through, but I want to give you 5 fast thoughts about my trip to Pinburgh.
5 fast thoughts.
All right, fast thought number 1 concerning Pinburgh. Boy, I'm an inconsistent pinball player. Like, jeez. So, if you don't know how Pinburgh works, you play a set of 4 games with 3 other people, and if you win, you get 3 points on a game. If you get second place, you get 2 points on a game. If you get third place, you get 1 point on a game. If you come in 4th, you get no points on that game. So, in a session on those 4 games, the best score would be 12 points if you won all 4 games. If you got no wins and finished last in all of them, you could get a 0. Here are my scores on the 10 banks I played in the 2 days of Pinburgh. started with a 2. This is what I do. I come to Pinburg. I'm super excited, and there's some good players. You know, you're seeded kind of. I was the low seed. I was the 697th seed going into the start of Pinburg, and I got a 2 in round 1. So I played very much to my seed and took home a 2 on the gold mining robot lizard villains bank. I don't even remember what the games were at this point, but. Anyway, it was disappointing. I seem to always start really bad. But you know what? I didn't care this year. I was just there to have fun. I didn't care where I landed. Put me in the E division for all I care. I'm just having fun. So, session 2, I score an 8. 8s are good. I won my group. Session 3, I scored an 8. I won my group again. So that's good. So some people at Pinburg looked at Nate Shivers and thought, man, this guy's not very good at pinball. And then some people were like, this guy's okay at pinball. Session 4, yeah, after the break, after dinner, after my amazing dinner that we don't talk about in public, I scored a 9. Yes, a 9. I met Leslie from San Francisco, or at least the Bay Area. Usually when people say the Bay Area, they mean they're from Oakland. I don't know that she's from Oakland. That's just my experience in history. And she and I both got a 9. We kind of kicked butt. It was really good. Swords of Fury was in that bank. Lion Man, this guy, Leo. July 31st, my birthday. See what I'm saying? Lion Man. So I got a 9. It might be my first 9 in Pinburg ever. I don't know. It was really good. So after that session, I was ranked 202 in Pinburg. I went from 697 to 202 going into the final session of day 1. That puts me on this cusp of the A division. The A division. This guy. So I pulled this group of really good players. Max, Tyler, and Aaron, good dudes, good players, and we were up on the stage. We were up under the lights with the stage, and we had a bank with Dialed In it. And I haven't played a whole lot of Dialed In, but Dialed In was there. I think Starpool was there, and I don't remember what else. I got another 2, is what I'm here to tell you, in that last one. I could have landed in A if I had gotten like a 7 or an 8, probably. I could have been in B if I had gotten like, a 4, 5, or 6, possibly, or something like that, maybe 5 or 6. No, I got a 2, so I went to the C division. That's okay. That's all right. Probably where I should be. C is in the middle. There was 5 divisions you could qualify into. So day 2, keeping up my ultra, consistent play, or lack thereof, I got a 3 in Group 1, a 3 in Group 2, an 8 in the third group I played, a 9 again, another 9, my second 9 of the tournament in the fourth group, and then probably needed a 12 legitimately. Probably needed to get the perfect score in session 10 to qualify for the finals, and that might not even have done it. I wasn't really dialing in the math here, but I got a 5, and I'm not even I don't know. I'll just admit it. There was a kid named Blake in our group, and I say kid not as a 39-year-old old guy who calls 25-year-olds kids. No, he was a kid. He was 10 years old. He couldn't see over the top of the Genesis game. We had Genesis in our bank, and he was on his tiptoes to beat us on Genesis. It was hilarious. I know Johnny Mnemonic was in that bank, which actually did well in that game because nice pinball players gave me tips. But yeah, I didn't get a 12, so I didn't make the finals. But I had a great time. It was really fun, super inconsistent, super fun, amazing, made me want to play more pinball. And so yeah. Fast thought number 2. Now, fast thought number 1.5. There were 4 Nates, 3 Nathans, and 1 Nathaniel in Pinburg. That's a lot. Anyway, fast thought number 2. Elizabeth Cromwell. You're a champ. I usually do the You're a Champs at the end of the show, but she's a champ because she brought me, on day 1 of Pinburg, a gift. And my gift was a 5-pound bag of Sour Patch Kids, all red. Apparently, I had professed my love for red Sour Patch Kids on this show, and lamented that they don't have them here in the Netherlands. And Elizabeth Cromwell of the Replay FX Foundation, who's busting her butt trying to make that thing run right, brought me 5 pounds of Sour Patch Kids. My teeth hurt now. My teeth hurt because I've been eating so many of them. This proved great fuel for me, and fast thought number 4, coming right up, while we played Pinburg. Fast thought number 4, thank you, Elizabeth, by the way. Fast thought number 4, I have a crew. I don't really have a crew, but I have a crew. Like, I don't have a lot of friends in life. Like, I work hard. I've been in relationships most of my life, whatever. I have very limited friends. I'm busy, you know. People don't like me, whatever. I have a crew now. Over the years, I've developed. Dave, Brian, Zach, and Josh. They're like my crew. It just has sort of worked out that way that we do like 3 meals a day at Pinburg with this group. We text each other about, you know, game knowledge. Luckily, we have 2 of the top 20-ish players in the world in our crew. It helps. But I had a blast, man. It's like so fun playing with these guys and hanging out with these guys. And Dave, Brian, and I did not make the finals in the second day, while Josh and Zach were in A finals. You may know them. But we played the Intergalactic Pinball Tournament Championship, as it may be. And we had a lot of fun. I love limited Herb-style tournaments. That's just a lot of fun. I liked it. Well run. I could sign up on a computer, and it all goes to my phone. I don't have to talk to anybody. There, it's perfect. I loved it. And you could queue yourself on the app or on the website. It was really good. So I have a crew. It's great. Fast set number 5. Keith effing Elwin. Jeez. So A finals, right? A finals. Let's take a look at what happened at the finals of Pinburg, one of the major tournaments in competitive pinball. All right, I'm looking at the actual results from papa.org here. So by the time we got to the semifinals, which I believe are mislabeled as the quarterfinals on this website, but that's okay. We got to the semifinals. The guys that were in our quote crew, Josh and Zach, were no longer with us in the tournament. They had exited. It's okay. Lots of good players left. So your final 8 of Pinburg this year was Raymond Davidson, Jim Belcito, Chris Stevens, Mark van der Groten. That's Dutch. He's from the Netherlands. I don't know Mark, but I'm just assuming by the name. Keith Elwin, Eric Stone, Andre Massenkoff, and Adam Becker. So that was your final 8. When we eliminated down to 4, we had the wrecking crew of Keith Elwin, Jim Belcito, Chris Stevens, Andre Massenkoff. So when I look at that group, I don't know Chris and Andre very well. Both seem like nice guys. Jim's a really nice guy. I'm pulling for Jim a little bit because, you know, good dude, California guy. Lost his mother this year. It'd be a great story. But dang, Keith Elwin's in that group, right? So if you haven't heard, if you live under a rock, Keith Elwin's the greatest pinball player of all time. Just FYI. He's the best. He's the great one. He's Michael Jordan. He's Tiger Woods. He's the best. And I have this thing inside of me, even if like my mom was playing Keith Elwin, I would kind of root for Keith Elwin because, you know, he's the best. And I think it's great for pinball to have somebody who's just sort of dominant because somebody will rise up eventually and challenge him, maybe. And I think it's cool to have, like, the guy. So when people say, well, who's the best pinball player? You go, Keith Elwin's the best pinball player. And they go, how? Why is he the best? You can just show them videos like the finals. Like the final game we watched on Harlem Globetrotters, where it's just like tap pass, slam the drop target, rip the spinner, over and over and over. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Like icy, cold-blooded, amazing pinball. I had people texting me that were watching the finals going, yeah, this is awesome. I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm here. I see it. It's amazing. It was really, really cool to watch Keith. He didn't blow through it, but he won. I'll put it this way. When he needed to play the best, he played the best. And I was sitting with a group of some really good pinball players. And when we got to the final game, I said to one of them, I said, any chance Keith doesn't win this? And he just shook his head at me and goes, nah, he's got this. So just for future reference, like if I ever need like an archer to like shoot an apple off my head, I want Keith Elwin to like learn how to shoot a bow and arrow and then him do it because I'll trust that he will come through and win. If I ever need like open heart surgery, my preference would be that Keith Elwin go to med school, become a surgeon, learn how to work on hearts and, you know, operate on my heart because I would trust he will finish. He will close the deal. If I'm ever in a situation where there's like a bomb ticking down and you got to cut the right wire, I would ask that Keith Elwin would please come and make that choice and cut the right wire. If I ever need to be rescued from a cave in Thailand and I have to be scubaed out, I hope Keith Elwin can scuba and get me out of there. Okay, hyperbole, I get it. Keith Elwin's amazing. It was awesome. Just fantastic. So there's 5 fast thoughts on Pinburg 2018. I need more thoughts. Can I have 5 more? Can I do that? It's my show, right? I can do whatever I want. Like, I can just take months off and not even do this show, right? That's okay? Good. All right, I got 5 more thoughts. All right, fast thought number 6. Shout out to Nicole Bernier, I hope I'm saying that right, who won the inaugural Women's International Pinball Tournament, which goes by Whipped. Watch some of the finals replay on YouTube. Really cool to see. You know, I was talking to somebody about this tournament, and they said, why do they got to have a women's tournament? I said, well, because it, helps promote a group that has somewhat been maybe marginalized. And I got into this whole rant about how it's a good thing. And then he's like, okay, dude, okay, it's cool. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, it's a good thing. I was actually reading some of the comments on the YouTube and probably the Facebook posts about this. And there were women commenting about how they cried watching the finals because they saw a woman getting the spotlight and blowing up these games and playing great. So if you don't understand why it's important, take some time and some inner reflection and check yourself just a little bit. It's a good thing. It's a fantastic thing. Played with lots of great women at Pinburg. Showcasing their talents, I think, is a great idea, and I hope we continue to do so. That's all I'll say about that. Fast thought number 7. I really want to thank all the people who I did play at Pinburg with, because, you run into a lot of people that you met over the years, or people came up and said, hey, I love the show that you used to do. And I'm like, hey, man, I might still do the show. But I also love when I'm stepping up to a game that I don't really know that well, like Johnny Mnemonic. And I'm like, hey, man, you got any tips on Johnny Mnemonic? And I get great tips on Johnny Mnemonic, and I get 3 points. Or maybe 2 points, I don't recall. But I really appreciate the community, how kind everybody is. For the most part, I did see a couple bad apples, saw a couple bad things go down, and I love how swiftly it was dealt with. The tournament directors, the techs, everybody on staff there was really set out to make Pinburg, a great experience. And if you were going to be the person ruining somebody's experience through just being a jerk, you weren't going to be in Pinburg. You're going to get asked to leave. So I really thought that was cool, but really I just want to say the community's awesome. I love watching the community rally around the finals of the A, around the women's tournament, even the intergalactic tournament. It's cool that people can support even when they're not playing, when they're not involved, and recognize people, playing great pinball. So very good stuff. Fast thought number 8. So I want my screens back. At the finals on the stage with the A banks, in years past at Pinburg, they've had a TV screen or 2, I think, next to each game, and they could move around what you're watching. And this year they made some, I think, step forwards in the presentation of the finals, but I did miss the screens. So one thing they were doing is they had movable cameras, so they could quickly move the cameras that could do slow motion or replays, and they had screens, big projection style screens out on the floor, so that I could watch the finals and see the featured game from way back, which was cool because I was back. They also had the commentary from the people on microphone commentating, going through speakers out to the crowd, which I think is actually really cool. I would just change a little bit of the implementation on that. If I can wax poetic a little bit about how I would do that, I would bring the speakers back. I would put the speakers back towards where the screens were, so the people right up front who are watching the games up front can just not have the commentary, and the players won't hear the commentary, which was definitely talked about. I had some top-level players around me saying, this is coaching, and it doesn't matter. If they're up there, they know this stuff already. So it's kind of a talking point. But you could eliminate that completely by just pulling the speakers farther away from the stage and out into the crowd, and sort of give the audience the option of, if I want to follow along with the commentators and watch on the big screen, I can sit over here. If I don't want that commentary and I want to just watch what's happening live on stage, I can sit over here. The problem is, without the TV screens above the games, you can't really see what's going on. And I found myself, when I was sitting up front during the quarterfinals of the A division, I wasn't getting a good experience sitting up front. I was getting the commentary, which I thought was cool, but I was only looking at a score reel, basically, on whatever game it was happening. So I ended up moving towards the back where I could see the big screen, so at least the featured screen. And the other thing is, on other games that were happening, especially when you got down to where there were 2 groups, not having those screens meant you were only going to see any pinball action, actually what's happening on the playfield, of the one group that was being projected by the fancy cameras out on the big screens or onto Papa TV. So I would prefer sort of a mix of both. I like the way they did that with the movable cameras. Thought that was cool. I like the idea of piping the commentary out into the crowd. I just would, move it out a little bit, dial the sound in a little bit. I think that's all pretty cool. I think in a perfect world, the players on stage don't hear that commentary. There were just some weird instances where the commentator might have known the better, shot or route in the game or decision to make on a problem. Like I think Steve Bowden, actually, friend of the show, Steve Bowden. Good to see Steve as he embarks his new career in the pinball industry. I think Steve, whoever played ahead of Steve on a game, tilted through. And so Steve walked up to a game with a tilt warning, and he was given the option of playing his ball or taking an extra ball at the end. And the commentators were commentating on what he should do. And that to me is where the commentating coming up to the players is a problem, I think, because you would hate to influence that. So anyway, I like the idea of making it more of an event. I like all the chairs. I like the games in the back with the banners. It's really cool. By the way, did I mention Keith Elwin's really good, and he now has half of all the Pinburg banners? I don't know if I mentioned that. But anyway, so kudos to the Papa crew, and the Replay FX crew, and the Pinburg crew for stepping forward. But bring back the screens, man. I like the screens. All right, fast thought number 9. Somebody should copy Pinburg if they can. Hear me out on this, right? Because there's only one Pinburg, I get that. But if somebody had a large collection of games, and we're talking like a large collection of games, like, I don't know, a large collection of games maybe far away from Pittsburgh, like on the West Coast, maybe in California, maybe in Banning, hint, hint. If somebody wanted to have a really awesome tournament and really, put their star on the map, as you might say, copy Pinburg. Do a version of Pinburg. Do that style tournament. Because it's the best. It's really the best, getting to play with so many different people and so many different games in a format that gives you tons of pressure but still lots of fun. And I don't know, somebody should copy Pinburg. Maybe copy it in the Netherlands, right? Do we have that many games here? I don't even know if there's as many games in the Netherlands as there are in Papa. Who knows? But I don't know. Just a thought. And fast thought number 10. So I was at Replay FX, and I was at the Stern pinball booth, and they had an Iron Maiden there. And so I played a couple games of Iron Maiden, and I think it's great. It's fantastic. And then in Pinburg, I was on a bank on the stage, and it had Iron Maiden in it. And I did really good. I got a 3 on Iron Maiden. I won my group on Iron Maiden. And as I walked away from that Iron Maiden, I thought, I think this might be the greatest pinball machine ever made. And I did think that. And it is subjective, but I do think I believe it. I propose to you, friendly listeners, here on episode 244 of this podcast, that number sounds really large when I say it out loud nowadays, Iron Maiden, designed by Keith Elwin, who won Pinburg, by the way, his first game he designs for Stern, it might be, and look, I know it's really hard to compare, like, Sea Witch and Iron Maiden. I know it's really hard. Not that Iron Maiden. Stern Iron Maiden. Come on. No, not that Stern Iron Maiden. Stern 2018 Iron Maiden. Come on. Stick with me. I know it's really hard to compare the Addams Family and Iron Maiden, or, I don't know, Centigrade 37 and Iron Maiden. But let's narrow it down then. Let me rein this in just a little bit. Maybe Iron Maiden is arguably the best game Stern has ever made. Because I think that the whole package, the game, the feel, the vibe, the art, the sound, I don't think they have anything better in the history of the company so far. And that's a good thing, that their best games are coming out now. It's a good thing that it wasn't like, oh, Tron's the best game we've ever made, everything else is a little bit subpar. They're progressing. They're moving forward. They've innovated with things they're doing with the screens and with new designers. So at Pinburg, talking to some of the people who I respect most in pinball, whether it's because they're amazing players or they buy every game and they know a lot about the games, and I just kind of think it's fun to talk to the collector type who has every game or has played every game, or they're just smart people. I started asking people. I started saying, is Iron Maiden the best game ever made? And nobody said no. Nobody said, no. I think a couple people said, I don't know yet. Like, maybe it could be. But I started having, like, real serious pinball people, like, nodding their head going, yeah, I think this is the best game ever made. And that's pretty cool that a guy who designs his first game just knocks it out of the park. So, Keith Elwin won Pinburg, but I think Keith Elwin's just winning pinball this year, right? I don't know. I'm really impressed with the game. I think it's fantastic. I want one. I mean, I really want one. I need to not live in this apartment to have one because my neighbors would throw me out the window. But I think it's amazing. So anyway, I propose to you, friendly listeners, and you can comment on my Facebook post of this if you want. You can send me emails at coast2coastpinball@gmail.com. It's coast, the number 2, coast, pinball@gmail.com. You can send me emails there. Is Iron Maiden, if not the best Stern pinball game ever, is Iron Maiden the best pinball machine ever made? And best is subjective, I get it. You might think Fireball's the best pinball machine ever made for whatever reason. I don't, that's fine. Don't come at me with future spa. I don't want to hear it. But yeah, I think it's fantastic. So another great thing, I think I was peaking the levels, as they say there. Sorry about that. Another great thing that happened at the Replay FX Festival is I got a chance to play some games that I had not played before. And that was really cool because they were all right there. And I think I should share my thoughts on this. And so I got to play Spooky Pinball's upcoming title, Alice Cooper's Haunted Castle, sorry. I'm a little out of it. I got to play Home Pin's Thunderbirds. Okay, so Australia company Home Pin, so there's a game. And I got to play American Pinball's Houdini. And these are 3 games I had not played yet and was excited to play all of them. So I got a little bit of time on each one of them. I by no means know the whole story or know the whole game or can give you full-on opinions. But I will say this. Playing Iron Maiden Pro screwed this up for me because when I look at Iron Maiden Pro as a game and then I play anything else, not just those 3 games, but anything else, and I'm thinking about it in terms of buying something, right? And I'm thinking about it in terms of buying it from a point of view like me, where I can have a game or 2, realistically. I've had as many as like 4 or 5 games in my life. Right now where I live, what I do, probably a game or 2. I think a lot of people are probably in that boat. Some people can have 30 or 40 games. Fine, cool. A lot of people can have a game or 2. And if you look at Iron Maiden Pro and the price point it falls at, and if you say that that's kind of the bar that's been set, it makes it really tough for everybody else. So when I played Thunderbirds, my first initial thought, and I said this to some people who asked me what I thought, was it's better than I thought it was going to be, because I don't know what I thought. It's been a weird company to follow. Haven't really liked the attitude from the main folks there. Just too fiery for me. Just I don't know. I don't know. I just didn't think it was going to be all that. But I actually stepped up to the game and thought, okay, this is cool. This looks good. Didn't really like the way the game shot. I don't like that ramp in the middle. It just gets in the way. It's kind of clunky. The colors were nice. There was some interesting geometry on that. I like the pop-up ramp on the right-hand side. There's some good stuff going on. I don't have any good or bad thoughts about Thunderbirds as the theme. It's fine. The one guy's gravelly voice bothers me immensely. Kind of like people have accused me for having vocal fry on the show, and it bothered them. Well, dude on that video game's got something going on that bothers me. Not video game, but in the audio of the pinball game. Really super gravelly voice that I don't even want to attempt to replicate here. So that game to me is okay. I think it's okay. And I don't care for the geometry. It feels like they were trying to do too much in there, I think would be the way I would probably describe it. But the overall package was actually better than I expected it to be. So, okay, not bad. Again, if you're in Australia, awesome. If you're a big fan of Thunderbirds, awesome. There's some big advantages to that game. If you're just a guy who's going to buy a game or two, harder to justify, I guess is how I would put it. Spooky Pinball. Alice Cooper's Haunted Castle. Is it Haunted Castle? I feel like such an idiot right now. It's late. Alice Cooper Pinball Spooky. I'm using the Google, folks. Live, not live on the show. And it went to a YouTube page. That is not what I was trying to do there. Jeez. You're just going to crash with me here. Sorry. That's how it's going to be. Alice Cooper's Nightmare Castle. I'm sorry, Charlie. I apologize. I'm sorry I'm also going to release this show on the same day you release Spooky Pinball Podcast. I apologize. I still love you. Alice Cooper's Nightmare Castle. So, I stepped up to this game. I think this game looks really cool. I think this game is like Nate as a 13-year-old would think this is the coolest game I've ever seen. I like the colors. I like all the castle stuff. It looks like Castle Grayskull from He-Man. That plays to my heartstrings. I like it. Thought it shot pretty cool. It's got some good stuff going on. I think the screen, the video screen with the animations and the scoring is maybe one of the best I've ever seen in pinball. I think that's just... Almost swore there. We can do that now. This show, we're going to go there some... No, we're not. I loved it. I think the Alice Cooper stuff's awesome. I think the music's really good. I need more time with the game. It had some hidden ball shots where like you shoot the ball and you're like, where'd the ball go? I don't love that. I think that game plays right into the Spooky Pinball customer, where these are people collecting interesting games or, you know, trying to get something that isn't a fan layout Stern game. That's who plays for that. I want to play that some more, but honestly, pretty good. Their screen and their animations will help them stay at that level when you've got, like I said, Iron Maiden Pro there. So that becomes the bar. And when I look at with Thunderbirds with a red DMD against Iron Maiden, that's really tough. That becomes very, very difficult. I also played Pirates of the Caribbean. Terrible. Totally forgot that. Played that too. Think that game's really pretty, really nice. They'll sell some of those. That's a good game. We'll see how it plays out to the good players. I literally played like 2 balls on it. And last but not least was Houdini, American Pinball Houdini, Houdini Master of Mystery. I think this game looks awesome. I think it looks really, really cool. I thought it was fun. I think some of the call-outs were grinding my ears a little bit. I think it's cool. I only played a couple balls on it, so I don't want to speak too much to the gameplay. It's a game that's weird to me because on one hand I hear people review it as this game's awesome, this company's going places, this is a step forward for pinball, it's awesome, it's great, cool. And then on the other hand I hear people going, I don't like the way it shoots, it looks nice, I don't like the way it shoots. So those are kind of the two things I hear about that. I can neither confirm nor deny either one of those really to me. I got to give you more of just I think it looks really good. I'd like to play it some more, but the lines were kind of long. At the Pinball Star amusement booth, I want to thank Joe Newhart for having all those games there. Hope he sold some. But yeah, I think Houdini looks cool. I'm going to, please listen to somebody else more informed than me on that one. But my overall takeaway from all these games was if Iron Maiden Pro or, hey, the next game from Stern, that could get announced like any day now. If that version of Pro is the bar, you got to stay above the bar if you want to like really have the big sales. I think there's room in pinball for the collector sale, the guy who just wants different games and wants to buy a little bit of everything. It's getting more crowded than it's ever been, though, is some of these games that have been talked about are coming out. And we've got another remake from Chicago Gaming coming with Monster Bash coming. It's an interesting time in pinball. And I hope to get more time on these games in the future so I can have a little bit better take on them. But my big takeaway was I think the bar has been raised and everyone's going to have to, work really hard. And I think you're far better off if you're an independent pinball company taking your time, building games, making sure they're great before you produce, mass amounts, before you go to market. Quit bringing games to market that you can't build. Just quit it. Stop doing that. I think you're far better off making sure you have a proven a proven demo game, test game, and then bring something that's really awesome if you want to sell a bunch of games. Because Stern is a behemoth. They're the machine. They're going to turn out 2, 3, 4 games a year, and man, some of them are really great, and that is where the bar has been set. All right, everybody, that's been episode 244 of Coast to Coast Pinball. Thank you for listening. Thank you for still having this podcast in your feed or seeing the link and clicking it, listening however you might listen. I appreciate it. The last show I did a few months ago with Ed Robertson, the downloads were actually really good, like pretty amazing. I walked away from the first couple weeks of seeing the download numbers on that. And I was kind of like, I should do this podcast all the time. People listen to this, so I really appreciate you listening. Life's been kind of strange. Life's been difficult. I didn't know how to address this, and it's not something I enjoy addressing or talking about. But since it came up, only about 50 times at Pinburg, and I know it became part of the show of Coast to Coast Pinball over the years. Teresa and I have separated, which is not even easy to say out loud, quite honestly. It's been a really rough year, but it's been like 6 months now. So, we are very good friends. She's an amazing woman. I will just leave it at sometimes things run their course. And you got to do what you got to do in your life. You only got one life, and so that's been a big thing for me personally that has probably sidetracked me from focusing on doing a podcast a whole lot. Life's been kind of strange. She's still here in Amsterdam. I think she's actually visiting family right now, but she's in Amsterdam. She's liking it. She's teaching here. We're both here. Nobody's leaving Amsterdam all mad or anything. It's just not like that. But I did want to throw it out there in case anybody who knows me personally is listening and I didn't get a chance to talk to them or tell them. So that's been going on, and just, work and learning what I'm doing in life. So I hope to do more podcasts. I don't feel like I don't ever need to retire from Coast to Coast Pinball. I don't ever need to hang it up. This thing could just go on and be, it could be 6 episodes a year. It could be 25 episodes a year. I don't know. I know I'm going to have another episode out sooner than you might think. Some good things are happening that I'm glad to be a part of. And anyway, just a thank you to all the people of Pinburg who are so kind, and thank you to everyone who listens to the show. I really appreciate it. It's for the fun of it. It's my commentary on pinball, which I am still madly in love with pinball. So until next time, play some more pinball, be nice to each other, and take care of yourselves. Talk to you soon.